This is On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross, a weekly recap of your Philadelphia Flyers from blue line to blue line. Broadcasting live from Chickies and Pete's, tonight's show is brought to you by Han & Stone Spa, Pat Dion Beverages, The Capitol Grill, Chickies and Pete's, Payroll Service Solutions, and Independence Blue Cross. We now go live to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Now, here are your hosts, former Flyers goaltending great Bernie Parent and Paul Jolovitz.
And welcome everybody to the beautiful Chickies and Pete's in Malvern, Pennsylvania for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. It is rocking, it is bustling. Big crowd, big holiday crowd tonight for our show. Bernie Parent, some guy that used to play goaltender for the Flyers, is our co-host. Bernie, you're not going to be here for 2 months. You're flying to Florida, huh?
Yep. It's, and you know, just this is where I'm at in my life. I like to be warm.
We all like to be warm.
Yeah.
We all
and,
like to, yeah.
And I promise I'll send you some pictures.
I'm sure you will.
Okay, good.
Make sure you also send them to our guest tonight, a guy who's been here before. We really love having him. Real good guy, a buddy of my friend Joe Cars, lives in the area. Defenseman for 13 years in the NHL, played with 5 teams. Guy was drafted in the first round in 1984, played 5 years with the Flyers. Mr. Terry Carkner, how are you, buddy?
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here, guys. Flyers play tonight, final game of a 5-game homestand, Bernie, against the Caps. They're 2-2. They won last Monday night over the Colorado Avalanche, 5-3. Got scared in the third period a little bit, but hung on. They played very well against the Devils the previous Saturday, got caught and beat in overtime in that one. But they're playing a little better now under John Tortorella, who obviously is taking a bullet for the team. The press conference Saturday night. Do you see, obviously 2 games do not make a turnaround, but what do you think about them playing a little bit better lately, starting to get some people back?
Well, you know what? John's a great coach, you know, and he comes in with a lot of new players, you know, young players, and it's, you know, it's a very, very situation to be in. But he's a good coach, and you'll see as we get going, you know what, it's going to be more pluses than minuses. Yeah.
Yep, sure is. Terry played for a lot of coaches in his NHL career. The standard defensive defenseman, stood back, kept the goalie safe like you, Mr. Parent. Terry, you had a chance to take a look at the Flyers, and what do you think of John Tortorella, if you have?
I don't have any experience with Mr. Tortorella. I don't think I've ever met him, but I agree with Bernie. I think the positives are going to outweigh. You can nitpick a little bit if you don't like the way his press conferences or something like that. But as a player, I didn't think there was anything better than when a coach would stand up for your team. And that's what he did for these guys, you know, on Saturday night.
I think it's pretty clear, guys, that John Tortorella has taken the bullet, realizes his team doesn't have enough talent. Obviously, not going to win a Stanley Cup this year. He's trying to nurture them. Said the rebuilding process will be a long one. Terry, you just mentioned John Tortorella and this part of it. But how much does a locker room, how much does a player take from a coach who doesn't rip them publicly, takes the bullet instead, and just tries to make his team better? Because it looks like, as you said, that's what John Tortorella is doing.
Yeah, I thought it was. I always paid attention to it. I liked it. I don't know. I'd like to hear Bernie's perspective on it, but I think the coach is the leader for your team, and with him and the captains, you follow that lead. So that's the way I always looked at it.
Yeah, Bert, if you give up 9 goals one night, and the coach came out and talked about the team, and the press conference was short, and he diverted all the attention away from you on that rare bad night, how'd that make you feel?
Well, you know what? The 9 goals would hurt me.
8 and an empty netter. How about that?
That's when you blame your defenseman when you have 9 goals. You
No,
know?
but I like Paul's point. If you gave up 9 goals, if he stuck up for you, or if you gave up 2, a bad one, and lost 2-1, and he picked on you, would that bother you? You know?
Yeah, of course. You know, listen. You play what? 82 games? 84
Well, if you start
games?
every game, yeah, 82 game season.
And I think, you know what? I'm going to make a prediction here. Okay, I love Hart. You know, he's good young goalie. He's getting better every year. He studies the game, and you could see the way he plays. You know, and I think, you know what, folks? I think you're going to see the Stanley Cup in Philly with him in goal. Yeah.
Any time limit on this? Not going to be this year. It's not going to be next year.
No. How old are you?
I'm 91 right now.
There's a lot of betting in sports now, Bernie, so you got to give people a timeline.
By the way,
sure.
at Chickies and Pete's in Malvern, we got the sports book, the Park Sports Book, right in this place. Terry, I don't know if you've ever been here before, but
I have. Yeah, I've been here.
this place is spectacular, isn't it?
Yes. Yep. It is.
Bernie's sports book. It's new, bustling, zillion TVs, anything you want to eat or drink. Come out to Chickies and Pete's, huh?
No, you look at people. Look, listen to the crowd. Everybody's happy, and it's a beautiful, beautiful place, man.
All right, we're going to see if everybody's happy. We're going to see if everybody's smart tonight. Terry, we do this to all our guests, yourself included. Terry Carkner played 13 years in the National Hockey League, played with Canada's national team, played defense. Terry, do you have any idea how many goals you scored in those 13 years in the NHL? Because I do.
I will say 43.
43, as Maxwell Smart would say, missed it by that much. 42.
Oh,
Not
there
bad.
you go. Always overeducating myself, always over. But anyways, that's good. I was close.
That's good.
Yeah.
Can't win in the Price is Right because you went over, but
Yeah,
no
that's
new
right.
car for
That's
you.
right.
Bernie, you didn't score any, did you?
What?
Mr. Did you ever take a shot on goal? Ron Hextall obviously scored the goal. Did you ever take a shot when you guys were 2 goals up, not worried about the icing?
The Flyers before a game, we spend 2 minutes in the dressing room saying the prayer that hoping that I wouldn't handle the puck. That's one. That's one thing I couldn't do. Could I read the plays, the players, and make them safe? Yes, of course I could. But as far as shooting, it wasn't. I believe that's why I had 2 defensemen to do this.
You had 2 defensemen,
Yep.
and so did Ron Hextall. One of them was Terry Carkner for a while. Terry, Ron Hextall might be the greatest puck-handling goalie ever. Marty Brodeur, a couple others may claim to be at the dinner table with Hextall, but certainly one of the best. What was it like playing with a goalie who could take care of himself with the puck and without? What was the difference to you?
I enjoyed being around Hexy. He was, when you talk about shooting the puck, I remember him.
Not just shooting it, but being able to handle it behind his own net.
Yeah, correct. There was a bit of a difference with him where you would not have to, most likely not have to skate and pick the puck up behind the net or anything. You knew he could play it around the boards or pass it to the wing or up the middle. So, yeah, I was just going to say in practice he would, if he was in a bad mood, he would shoot the puck at the guys after they scored on him and stuff like that.
At them.
And he could shoot it. We all know he could shoot it down the ice and hit the net, but
Yep.
he would also shoot it at guys' heads when he wasn't in a very good mood.
Well, he's not in a very good mood lately. His Penguins aren't doing so great, but
Right.
not bad. Do you guys still, Bernie, you still follow Hexy in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, they have a good team. Yeah, they have a good
Pretty
team.
good team.
And you know what? They have
Old team.
They have a good leader in Crosby. And they, you know what? They're playing. They're playing well. I like our team. Look at this. We have a lot of young players, and it takes time to develop those guys. We have to be patient.
Yep.
But you have the right coach, and you know what? It goes from 3 stages. You have the goalies, you have defense, and you have forward. And I think the secret to improve on that situation is communication. It's important that goalie it communicates with the defense, and the defense communicates with the forwards. Very important.
And that's a big thing for John Tortorella, too, Terry. I mean, he is trying to instill in this team, do the right thing, play hard, play with effort. He doesn't care if the other team is better than you are. He says, go out, play your best, and that should be good enough. But as a coach, I know you coached some after your career, not at the NHL level, but how frustrating. I mean, obviously you can't get inside John Tortorella's head, and he's not going to tell you if you did ask a question that hit the button, but how frustrating is it to have a team that you know that even if you play your best, you're probably not going to win that night? What's that like?
I think it's just any coach is going to be competitive. He has a competitive nature, so that's just, I don't think it's anything he's going to hide from his players or anything like that. He'll be honest and just let them know that, the system is very important in order to compete with a team that's supposedly better than you or more talented or whatever term he wants to use for it.
All right, so
But you always want to play to win. I mean, he's not gonna stop his guys from trying to win the game.
Oh,
it's
no.
just gonna have to do certain things to make a chance to win the game.
All right, either one of you guys. And the Flyers have played some very good hockey for 2 periods, for a period. Played all 3 in Toronto, save for a couple minutes at the end the other night. What is it about the Flyers? It's not necessarily effort. Tortorella will say that. Obviously, they're not the most talented team in the league, but what is it that keeps biting them in the third period? Other teams coming back. They're not running out of gas. What are they running out of, Bernie?
Well, I think what's happening is when you have a young team like we have, and you mentioned they played the first 2 periods, and then they lose at the end sometimes in the third period, right?
Yep.
And you have to look on the other side of the ice too. They're playing the team that will make some adjustment too, and sometimes it will take the opposite team a couple of periods to make the adjustment against a young team. But they do. This is why I think I keep repeating myself all the time. Communication is so important when you have a young kid.
But you didn't speak English. You only spoke French. How'd you communicate?
They understood when I said vas-y.
Yeah.
Vas-y?
Vas-y, yeah.
When a goalie's yelling, a defenseman knows what he's saying in any language.
Oh, wait. This is going to sound like a joke, Terry, but it's not a joke at all. I mean, Brad Marshall, co-host of this show. There's a jillion Canadian defensemen, English-speaking defensemen, Americans in the NHL. How much French did you learn? Obviously, a ton of your teammates spoke French. Did you pick up any of it? Do you speak French? Do you speak elementary French? Do you understand 4-letter words in French?
I learned how to swear in French, but I had some French in school, and then when I played in Quebec, they had a tutor. They wanted the guys to try and learn the language, so I had a tutor. I got to listen to it pretty well, to be honest with you. I could watch a TV show or the news, but I never spoke it real well. But when you can understand what people are saying, then you can answer yes, no, or thank you and stuff like that. So,
All right, well, given that, we know the NHL is a melting pot, guys from around the world. Bernie, you played a little earlier than Terry, not quite as melting a pot as when Terry played, but if I said the word bleep, if you know what I mean, you got Europeans. How many different languages, Terry, do you think you understand the word bleep, not the real word, in? Somebody says that 10, 12 languages? What do you say? People cursing their native language on the ice, or do they use French or English?
Oh, French, English, and I played with Robert Svala in Florida, and he was Slovakian, and I learned all his swear words because he would swear at me when we come off the ice.
Burn, the defense ever swear at you?
You know what? I would swear, but in French, to make sure they didn't understand what I was saying.
I'm sure they understood it.
They understood, yeah. But anyway, going back again, the basic here with the young team is, and I keep repeating myself all the time, guys, and you know the deal, communication, goalies with the defensemen. You see what's happening in front. You see how they're reacting to different plays, and you communicate that. So the next time you'll know what the player is going to do, and then it helps you to be at the right place at the right time.
All right, Bernie, being completely honest, I can communicate in several languages. I have absolutely zero hockey talent. I could play goaltender and communicate perfectly. We'd lose 396-3. At what point does talent get into the equation? Obviously, you're not going to have guys in the NHL without a ton of talent, but you can communicate all you want, but talent has what type of issue and what part of the experience for you?
Well, you know what I'm saying is, I'm not touching talent right now. I'm touching about communication.
Right, I'm not
to have the players understanding what I see, and for them to understand if they make a certain move. So I would be aware of what they're going to do in certain situations. So that helps me to be at the right place at the right time.
All right, we're going to talk about communication before our first break here. Terry, fighting's not as much a part of the game as it was. You're a big guy. You stood up for yourself. In your opinion, you played 25 years ago, retired almost that, or maybe a little bit more than that.
Yep.
Fighting not being an integral part of hockey, in Terry Carkner's mind is blank right now? Fill in that blank if you could.
I'll use frustrating for myself. Just it's probably a selfish, egotistical way to look at it, but it's frustrating to watch the game and not have the confrontations. I think that enticed the game when I played and when I watched the game as a kid.
Interesting stuff. Terry Carkner is our guest tonight. Star defenseman, played 13 years in the NHL, 5 of the Flyers. We'll talk much more about that. He scored 42 goals. Does he know how many times he had over 100 penalty minutes? We'll find out when we come back. Yes, sir.
41 and 42 were empty nets.
I wish.
You ever score an empty net goal?
No, I don't think so.
Never an empty net. Neither did I. Neither did Bernie.
I would have missed the net.
All right. It's time now for the Independence Blue Cross Live Fearless Player of the Week. Each week we award a Flyer with this honor. This week, coming off a lower body injury to play, Tony D'Angelo scored. Got an assist earlier this week, got a goal against Colorado, a power play goal, a huge goal. We'll talk about that in just a little while. Tony D'Angelo is the Flyer Player of the Week. Remember to choose Independence Blue Cross today and begin to live fearless. We're talking fearlessly with Bernie Perrant and Terry Carkner back at a bustling Chickies and Pete's in Malvern. Hope everybody's having a great time. Happy holidays, everybody. Back right after this.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's Incredible Crab Specials Wednesdays this fall. 2 pounds of snow crab legs for $49.99 or 2 pounds of snow crab legs and 4 hard shells for $79.99. Thursdays is Chicky and Pete's Go Birds Wing Special. Whatever the Eagles score on Sunday, get that percentage off your wings on Thursday. Higher score, bigger discount. Plus, our fall specialty menu with the mouth-watering garlic truffle burger and B-Dog Impact Nachos. Enjoy a pumpkin shanty or a smoked apple cider margarita. Chickies and Pete's.
I'm always striving to live my healthiest life, so I need a health plan that has my back. With Independence Blue Cross, I get access to the largest network of doctors and hospitals in the region and free virtual doctor visits 24/7. Plus, with premiums as low as $0 per month, I can stay on top of my health and keep my budget in check. Independence has given me coverage I can count on, and they'll do the same for you. Explore your coverage options and enroll today at ibx.com.
A flawless occasion begins at the Capitol Grill. From the moment you step into the Capitol Grill, located in the heart of Center City, the experience is one of comfortable elegance. Whether you're looking to host a private affair, a perfect lunch stop, or dinner destination, start your occasion at the Capitol Grill today. Visit thecapitolgrill.com or call 215-545-9588. That's 215-545-9588 for the Capitol Grill, Center City.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and former Flyer goaltending great Bernie Perrant.
All righty, back here at Chickies and Pete's. We have a great time, our final time with Mr. Perrant until the middle of February. Terry Carkner, our great guest tonight. Terry, the goals you missed by 1, 43. You said you had 42 goals in your career. part of your game was a physical game. You're a big guy today. You were a big guy then. You were a terrific player then. I'm sure you're a terrific player today, however retired. Any idea how many times you had over 100 penalty minutes in the 13 years?
Out of the 13 years?
Yep.
7.
Missed it by 1 again. 8. So you know yourself pretty well.
Well, I can remember the years when I sat on the bench and didn't get on the ice, and then the other years when I did.
There we are. Get in that box. All right, here's something for you, Bernie. You had the picture somebody brought up of you with a Stanley Cup. Now, I don't know when this tradition started of the guys who won the cup being able to take the cup for a day, the coaches, the players. Was that in place when you played? And if it was, what did you do with a cup when you had it for a day each of the 2 times? Do you remember?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I had the cup at my house, and a bunch of neighbors and friends, came over, took pictures and talked, the Stanley Cup, which is a tremendous trophy, and the whole bit. And it was a beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, because when you look at the Stanley Cup, you just don't look at the Stanley Cup itself. You look at the meaning of it, which is you're the best team in the world that year. And there's a lot to be grateful for.
That's a great point, because I grew up obviously here in the United States. I played a little football as a kid, not quite close enough to the NFL to dream even. Vince Lombardi trophies, the NFL trophy. Obviously, there's a trophy in every sport. But, Terry, you guys grew up in Canada. The Stanley Cup is more than a trophy. It's a symbol, as Bernie said, of being the best in the world. You actually get to take it for a day. What does the Stanley Cup mean to a Canadian kid that's a lot more than just a generic trophy for winning a championship in any sport?
Oh, God. I mean, it's a really good question. I don't have a good answer. It was something we dreamed of as a kid. We talked about it more when we were 10 years old and playing out in the driveway. When you got to the NHL, it just became, the competitive side of it, trying to make the playoffs. It took me, I had to get to Philadelphia here in my 3rd year before I was able to make a run in the playoffs and learn how hard it was to win. So I'm with you. When I look at these pictures and see Bernie behind the cup, I can't even, it's out of my realm to even talk about. So I feel kind of weird. But as a kid, we all dreamed of raising it over our heads. But I mean, you're trying not to dream about it when you're in the NHL. You're actually trying to work towards it.
Oh, you've been retired for a while now. Somebody walked in this Chickies right now with the Stanley Cup. Would you touch it?
Would I now?
Yeah.
You know what? I probably wouldn't. I have a couple friends that are coaching, and I'm hoping they win one, and I get a chance to be around it at that point. I would touch it then.
Vern, go ahead. What do you think about the superstition about touching the cup?
Well, if somebody would walk in with the cup right now, I think the show would be over.
There we are. Well, the Flyers took it and beat Colorado, who won the cup Monday night. Maybe they had it here for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But what did it mean to you, Bernie, when you were growing up and the Stanley Cup? You're not thinking about winning a championship. You're thinking about winning the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
What did it mean to you more than just a regular trophy in a regular sport?
Well, living in Canada, Montreal, we were blessed with great teams in those years. And Richard, Plant and the goalie and Beliveau and all those guys. It was, every Saturday night, my God, that's all you did. You watch the team play. And when you got in the playoffs, then you get nervous. You get nervous because you can't do anything about it. You can only watch, And that's the beauty about when you're playing. At least you could participate and help the team in your own way. One individual to help. You give your best, to win the cup.
Richard won more Stanley Cups than anybody else, right?
Mm-hmm.
But not Maurice Rocket Richard.
Henry.
His brother Henri won
11, I believe.
11 cups.
11 cups, yeah.
11 cups. That's not bad. Terry, I don't want to open up a sore. If you want to cold cock me, you're welcome to, or just tell me to shut up. But if you did win the cup, if somehow you went back on the ice, your team won the cup, and you got it for a day, any idea what you'd do with it?
I would, if my parents were still alive, I would take it to my hometown. and be around my family and my parents there for sure.
Tremendous stuff.
If they weren't, I might just jump in a pool naked with it or something. I don't know. It would be awesome.
You don't have to break any state secrets here, but either of you heard anything being done with the Stanley Cup that could get somebody sent to jail or have God frown on them or whatever?
I know Bernie has witnessed stuff that he can't talk about, so I won't even comment on this.
What can you talk about, Bernie? What's the most whatever talked about thing that you can say with the Stanley Cup that is going to keep you out of people's crosshairs right now?
Here's my question to you.
Yes, sir.
What's your next question?
Yeah, we see where this is going. Going very fast. All right.
Like Terry said, just like today, you wear a mask on and no clothes on and life is good, man.
Yep. Well, I want to get back to these Flyers. Not a very good hockey team. Let's not pretend. They got a ton of talent, ton of injuries. JVR's back tonight after a broken finger. Sean Couturier is still out. Ryan Ellis may never play again. Cam Atkinson keeps knocking on the door but is not quite back yet. Flyers, it's fair to say, are a challenged team at this point. Bernie, you came up with Boston. You play with some bad teams. Terry, you play with some bad teams in your career. When you know you're on a bad team, obviously you're in the NHL where every fan in the world would like to be, but you're on a bad team. You're not going to win that many games, but you're still living out your dream. What's it like, Terry, knowing that you're not going to win that much, and how frustrating is it?
It's your job, and it really isn't so. I never found it that bad until the end of the year when all the other teams you were in the standings and you knew you weren't going to make the playoffs. Then it became very difficult to focus 100% and give it your all for those 5, 6, whatever, 12 games at the end of the season when you were going to play them out and go home anyways. That's what I found to be the difficult part of the season.
Bernie, you?
Well, I you know what? I picture a situation, a year you don't make the playoffs, and the one thing, and I'm sure where Terry agree with this, you owe to the fans. The people who cheer for you every game, and you owe them you feel bad for those people because
Debt of gratitude.
Gratitude because they've been showing all those games. So the best thing to do, in my philosophy anyway, with this is forget the situation, try to improve what you're doing right now, so that next year something like this won't happen.
And that's true of many people. Bernie played for, obviously, Fred Shero. Win today and walk together forever. You did that. Terry, you played with 5 teams, a 13-year career, wonderful career in the NHL. Why'd you stay in Philadelphia? I mean, so many guys who played here stay here, and I'm sure other places as well, but what was the bullseye that kept you in Philadelphia?
I didn't have a connection in Michigan, and Florida was obviously quite a ways away, so I enjoyed the people in this area, and I can drive up to, my parents are still alive, and I could, 20 years ago, obviously that was a decision to stay, and I could go up and see them easily, and I just wanted to stay in the States. Mm-hmm. So, and I was able to get my citizenship after that, and it's been great.
Have you morphed into a Philly sports fan? I mean, with the World Series, the Eagles, obviously everything that's going on.
I'm as good a sports fan or as bad a sports fan as everybody else is. I can make fun and I can rip on the guys as well as I used to get ripped on, I think.
Now, you share something with my wife. Bernie, you threw out the first pitch at Game 3 of the World Series here. It was a tremendous moment. Terry, my wife, our nephew, had to go back to college, and Part 1 of Game 5 of the 2008 World Series, where the weather delay, he went to that game, couldn't go to the second part. My wife got to go to the Game 5 Part 2 and see for 3 innings the Phillies win the World Series. I've never met anybody else that was in that boat, but here you come sailing along. Same thing happened to you. Tell us about it if you could.
Yeah, a friend of mine, I'm pretty sure, I don't want to missay the story, I think his sons went the game before, but they couldn't. I think a boy or 2 of his couldn't go the next night, and he asked me if I wanted to fill in, and I did, and it was, I always, like Bernie talked about, watching the Stanley Cup being awarded on a Saturday night in Canada when we were kids. I got that same feeling when I got to see the championship of it in another sport which I had never been around another sport to see the championship game. It was cool. I really liked it. I'll always remember it.
Terrific. Hopefully, maybe the Super Bowl can be here some year. Not going to be here this year. You got to go to Arizona if the Eagles are lucky enough to be in it. Time for another quick break now. It's time now for the Smart Stat of the Week, brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY. That is 1-866-PAY-EASY. Going into Monday night, Flyers 14.3% on the power play. Last in the NHL, guys, but scored 2 out of 3 on the power play in a 5-3 win. That's our stat of the week. Once again, brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for the smart choice in payroll services. Payroll Service Solutions, catering to the small and medium-sized business to handle all of your payroll needs. Call them once again at 1-866-PAY-EASY. Bernie and Tara will be back with me. My name is Paul. You know what your name is. We're back right after this. Stay with us.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's, and we know Saturdays in the fall are special. Why? College football. And we have you covered with food and drink specials and the best in-game experience to watch your team or the college football game of the week. Come watch Penn State, Temple, Villanova, Notre Dame, Texas, Michigan, Georgia, and more. College football Saturdays are special at Chickies and Pete's.
At Independence Blue Cross, we believe in giving you the tools you need to pursue your healthiest life. From premiums as low as $0 per month to health discounts and cash rewards, it pays to have coverage with Independence. With the strongest network of doctors and hospitals in the region and free 24/7 virtual doctor visits, you can feel confident that quality care is always within reach. Explore your coverage options and enroll today at ibx.com.
A flawless occasion begins at the Capitol Grill. From the moment you step into the Capitol Grill, located in the heart of Center City, the experience is one of comfortable elegance. Whether you're looking to host a private affair, a perfect lunch stop, or dinner destination, start your occasion at the Capitol Grill today. Visit thecapitolgrill.com or call 215-545-9588. That's 215-545-9588 for the Capitol Grill, Center City.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
If you are looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and former Flyer goaltending great Bernie Perrant.
Alrighty, back here from Chickies in Malvern. We're having a great time. We'll be in Glassboro next week. We'll announce a guest as soon as we got one. We'll be in Glassboro the next 3 weeks. We're here at Bernie Perrant and Terry Carkner. Terry, hockey has a culture of effort and working hard, which I assume all sports do, but nobody ever says a word about it. You can go to a locker room in the NFL, in Major League Baseball, in the NBA. Everybody works hard, but nobody talks about it. In hockey, it's pretty much all that's talked about. I'm not sure what the difference is, but in your opinion, why is the work ethic so much a part of the culture that's verbalized, and why do people talk about working hard so much, almost to the exclusion of talent at times?
You're referencing on the ice during the game.
No, after the
How
game, we worked hard tonight. You talk to a player, we worked hard, we outworked them, blah, blah, blah. You never hear anybody in other sports, not that other sports don't do that, but it's talked about in hockey all the time. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
I'd agree with you that the reference to working hard is something a hockey, that they say in hockey more than I don't hear it in other sports.
Why
I agree,
do you think
I understand.
that is?
I don't know, Bernie, you got to answer these questions. I can't answer these thoughtful when I need a brain to use. I'm not sure if Bernie mentioned it when we were talking on the side or during tonight, but there's a camaraderie and a communication with your team which is valuable, and when you have that, and the team there's a momentum you can feel in your room, and I think that when they say we worked hard, that they almost refer to that as much, because when you feel good and you're you're communicating with your teammates, your energy builds up and you're just jumping more. So good. that would I don't know if that's a good answer or not.
It's a terrific answer.
Very good, very good.
Bern, we know John Tortorella is big on shot blocking, on forwards getting back and getting in between shots. Some goalies don't like that. I don't know about Carter Hart, what his personal preference is, but sometimes somebody goes down to block a shot, they also screen the goalie. Then if they miss the shot, they can miss the puck. Were you a big fan of guys trying to block shots, or just leaving it alone and letting you worry about the shot?
No, my communication was always with the defenseman. I'm getting paid. I'm in goal. I'm the one who's supposed to make the save.
Right.
You know? And as far as the defenseman, your job is to take care of the players in front of the net, not to lay down or whatever and stop the shot. It's that was my philosophy. And when you do this, I always, I learned from Joe Watson. As a matter of fact, it was very good. If you have your defenseman, in front of you, but let's say 10 feet or whatever, 15 feet, and that player is coming down with the puck, he said he would always play the man. I knew what Joe would do. So if it was a left-hand shot, 9 out of 10 times the puck would go my stick side. And if it was a right-hand shot, 9 out of 10 times it would go my glove side. Those are things you work on in practice. You're talking about working hard. You practice on those things, and then once you get in the game, it helps you to anticipate, be at the right place at the right time to make the save.
Terry, you make yourself out to be the village idiot. You're far from that. You're a very, very thoughtful guy. And this is something that I'm sure you've thought about. You played with a lot of goalies in your career. John Tortorella likes shot blocking. Maybe Carter Hart doesn't like guys going down for shots. It could be a divergence in philosophy. Did you ever talk to your goalies when you had a new goaltender and basically find out, do you like us getting in front of shots? Do you not? Was that part of your vibe with them?
Yeah, for sure. You spend enough time with these guys in practice and morning skates and games that it quickly became aware of what a goalie preferred, or most likely you did something he didn't like, he would let you know. It wasn't like that was really good, I like that. If he stopped the puck, he was happy, but when the puck went in the net or you did something he didn't like, they let you know about it, which was good.
It's always good. Communication, as Bernie said, is always great. And with that said, Bernie's talked about Bobby Hull many times on this show. What's it like? Try to put everybody, all the listeners, in an NHL rink. Bobby Hull or somebody like him, maybe somebody who shoots 95% as hard as Bobby Hull, is coming down the wing or the other wing, whatever it is, and they're winding up, and you can go down to block the shot. The second you decide to go down and block that shot, tell us what's in your mind that you can say on the air. What's blocking the shot like? How much of it is mental? How much is physical? And how much is purely getting rid of the fear to begin with?
Blocking a shot is not, there's so much equipment, it really isn't that, the worst part is if you go to block it and they fake you out and go around you. That's embarrassing. But for the most part, blocking a shot, it's not going to hit you. When it hits you in a bad spot, that's when blocking a shot becomes, there's a few places on your ankle bone and the back of your knee and stuff like that become very painful and can actually restrict your ability to play the rest of the game. So, but for the most part, blocking a shot is not a. Hopefully you block it, because if it misses you, then you're probably screening the goalie, as you said.
I mean, you had a long career. What was the worst injury? Bernie had a terrible eye injury that led to having to retire. What was the worst injury that you suffered in a hockey game, whether it was blocking a shot?
I got my nose broken in a fight with Joey Kosher, and I had to get put under to have my nose put back, and then, I bled on my pillow. I was a single guy, so I had to wash my own laundry, so I bled on my pillow for 3 or 4 weeks, and it was painful,
3
too.
3 or 4 weeks?
Oh, it was a long time that I would wake up with nosebleeds and stuff like that.
And now you have kids, and they're married, and how many kids do you have? What's life like here in Philly for you?
I have one girl. She's 19 years old, and she's actually going to school in Rome, Italy.
Wow.
So amazing opportunity that she's taken on, and she seems to be doing really well.
What's she pursuing?
By the way, she's in Italy, right?
She is.
Okay, I gotta share this with you. Well, my wife's from Italy.
Yeah.
But I gotta share this with you. The name of my boat used to be the French Connection. Now it has become the Italian French Connection.
You take your boat to Florida, by the way?
Yes.
How do you get it there?
Usually I put them on my shoulders and take it there. What do you mean, how do I get it there?
Well,
I
do you
drive
sail
it
down
there.
there?
Of course you do.
You're going to sail from Avalon to Florida?
Yeah, it takes about 4 days.
All right, fair enough.
You put the autopilot on and bingo.
All right, so what's
He's a goalie, Paul. They're crazy.
Yeah.
They are crazy.
They are. So when you're down in Florida, while the rest of us are freezing, January 10th, it's 9 degrees here, 85 in Florida where you are. What's a typical laugh at Philadelphia and then go out and enjoy your day? What's a typical Bernie Parent and Jeannie Parent winter day in Florida like?
Well, we love to call our friends, tell them how warm it is.
Cold there, huh? Right?
Yeah, it's cold. Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's just that I've reached a stage in my life that I enjoyed the cold weather, the snow for a lot of years, coming from Montreal, of course. But as you get older, I love the warm weather. It's part of me, especially with my passion. I love to
fishing.
I tell people, live your passion, and my passion is a boat. I love fishing. I love boating. So during the winter, you can't do this here, of course. So you take your boat down south and you enjoy it.
All right, Terry, you're a tough guy. You're also a Canadian guy. With those two things known, in your opinion, what's a cold day to you? Obviously, anytime anybody moves south, they run into people who are scared of the cold more than they are. But with your upbringing, your natural toughness, you're a defenseman in the NHL, what has to be the temperature to have you say, Jesus, cold out here?
I'll try not to brag too much, but I'll say when it's, I have to, can I do Celsius or Fahrenheit?
Either
15 degrees and windy. And it
wind
starts to get cold.
Yeah, that cuts
it
right
has
through
to
the
be windy, yeah.
Yeah, cuts right through
You can
the
stand anything if it's not windy, really.
Yeah.
All right, Flyers playing the Caps tonight. Game 5 of a 5-game homestand. 2-2, have a chance to win the homestand. Obviously playing against Alexander Ovechkin tonight. Bernie, you talk about Bobby Hull all the time. I'm not sure if he was the best. We'll ask you in a quick second. Terry, who was the best you played against Gretzky, so I'm answering my own question. Who's the best offensive player you ever played against? Was it Lemieux, Gretzky? Anybody surprisingly good that we wouldn't think of?
Lemieux is my answer. He scared me more than anybody.
Because of the physical aspect?
Just he could make me look silly. He could one-on-one. He could physically run over you if he wanted to. He could go around you. And Wayne would always just pull up and turn in the corner and then pass to somebody, so it wouldn't make you look that bad. But Mario could make you look really bad anywhere on the ice.
Mm-hmm. Bernie, was Bobby Hull the best you ever played against?
Yep. They, even today, they don't even come close to it. He shot the puck at 120 miles an hour. Think about this. 120 miles an hour.
Yeah.
The forearms on him were just famously
Popeye.
Ridiculous.
Popeye, just it was incredible. I would put my glove in front of my face and say, Lord, please let him score.
Terry, I read a story once in Sports Illustrated about Lee Norwood, who was a defenseman of your era, when he splattered Wayne Gretzky one day. Gretzky supposedly was very tough to hit, like liquid mercury. He obviously had bodyguards, Dave Semenko and plenty of others. But Lee Norwood hit him one day and went to the bench. He thought he'd be getting high fives and sticks from his teammates. They all stared at him. Gretzky pulled himself up. Next shift went out, skated through the entire team and scored. And Norwood's coach turned to him and said, "Don't ever do that again." Did you ever hit Wayne Gretzky? Were there unwritten rules as to who to go after, who not to go after, stuff like that?
I tried to hit him once in Edmonton, and I had to fight McClellan. What was his first name? Kevin McClellan.
Yep.
I had to fight Kevin McClellan whenever we were on the ice together again after that. So, you quickly learn that certain guys you're not supposed to hit certain guys. It wasn't just them. It was, all those good players.
All right, when we come back, we're going to find out if Terry and Bernie want Alexander Ovechkin to break Gretzky's record. He's about 100 goals away. Flyers and the Caps tonight. Then the Flyers go out on the road. Obviously, this season's a rebuilding phase. We'll talk to Terry and Bernie about what rebuilding is when on the ice. Presented by Independence Blue Cross. Comes back here to Chickies and Pete's in Malvern. You can also listen right here at 1490 WBCB or Facebook Live. Back after this. Stay with us, folks.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Dine in for these amazing fall specials. Wednesday is crab night. 2 pounds of snow crab legs, $49.99. Or mix it up with 2 pounds of snow crab legs and 4 hard shells for $79.99. Thursdays are for the birds. Whatever the Eagles score on Sunday, you get to save on wings at Chicky and Pete's on Thursday. Plus, limited time fall specials, including bomb pork belly tacos and the garlic truffle burger. Wash it down with our pear elderflower mule or apple cider old fashioned. Chickies and Pete's.
I'm always striving to live my healthiest life, so I need a health plan that has my back. With Independence Blue Cross, I get access to the largest network of doctors and hospitals in the region and free virtual doctor visits 24/7. Plus, with premiums as low as $0 per month, I can stay on top of my health and keep my budget in check. Independence has given me coverage I can count on, and they'll do the same for you. Explore your coverage options and enroll today at ibx.com.
A flawless occasion begins at the Capitol Grill. From the moment you step into the Capitol Grill, located in the heart of Center City, the experience is one of comfortable elegance. Whether you're looking to host a private affair, a perfect lunch stop, or dinner destination, start your occasion at the Capitol Grill today. Visit thecapitolgrill.com or call 215-545-9588. That's 215-545-9588 for the Capitol Grill, Center City.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and former Flyer goaltending great Bernie Perrant.
All righty, back here at Chickies and Pete's in Malvern, where we always have a great time. My buddy Billy Werndow from Jolly and the Loon here on WBCB is here tonight with his friend Thad. All kinds of people having a good time watching TV, eating all kinds of food. Terry's been here before, kind of live right near here in Malvern. Terry, I met you last year, or I invited you to a show through a mutual friend of ours, Joe Carr, who's the defense coordinator here at Malvern Prep.
Yes, sir.
You had gone to his house and cut a tree down. What's Terry Carkner, other than cutting trees down, doing with his life today?
I had some rental properties, and I do a little bit of construction work, carpentry work, and other than that, I'm a stay-at-home bum, I guess you'd say.
Stay-at-home mom. Do you have a problem visualizing that, Bernie?
No, not really.
You should have, Bernie. You should have a problem.
All right, guys. We hear the term rebuilding all the time. Terry, you're talking about as far as rental properties, but relative to hockey teams, when John Tortorella, Chuck Fletcher, whoever, the fans don't want to sit through a 4 or 5 year waiting period, but it's unrealistic to think the Flyers could win a cup this year or next year. Obviously, anything can happen in sports, but what does rebuilding mean to you? Either one of you want to go first? And how do you make the fans the fans swallow it?
Well, first of all, I think what's very important is how you socialize with the crowd, with the people. Because once you do this, then people accept the mistake that you'll make on the ice. It's very, very important. And then as far as you're talking about, there's a reason why you're practicing to improve what you're doing. And I remember with Fred Sherrill, we used to practice a half hour every practice, the beginning of practice, a half hour, how to come out of our zone. Five different ways to do it. So when the game would come, then you would make some quicker decisions on how to come out if the team were forecheck a certain way, and most of the time it was successful, and that's what I'm talking about. And then it takes time once you do this.
But Bernie, you can teach me to break out, and someone of my talent might understand how to get the puck out of my zone, but I'm never going to be able to do anything with it. There's more than just the technical aspects of hockey to getting better, isn't there?
Well, first of all, you have to have a good positive attitude. It's very, very important. And then this way, if I go a little bit more detailed, you have 5 different ways to come out. So if you have 2 guys coming into forecheck, you could change your mind very quickly because you practice so many times, and then the players would also help you to be in the right position to help you to make the right play.
All right, Terry, what does rebuilding mean to you?
It's a good point. I don't really know what a rebuild would mean to me in any of the sports. I think if you watch a hockey game from the stands and your team is being competitive and has a little energy to them, you're going to go home and be happy with your team.
Great point.
No matter whether they are winning 10 in a row or losing 10 in a row. Obviously, you want your team to win. As far as rebuilding, I don't know. That's a good. I guess you just have to, hopefully, have enough games where you're enticed as a fan. You believe in your team, and that you just come back next year and hope that they're moving in the right direction.
I think that's why John Tortorella emphasizes effort so much, because the team wants fans to come in the building and be entertained, but you realize you're not going to win that many games. Just do your best, play hard, and the fans of Philadelphia appreciate work ethic and a great effort. Terry, do you remember who your favorite teammate in Philadelphia ever was? You played here 88 to 93. Does one teammate stand out above the rest?
No, not really fair, because when I came here, we made the playoffs that first year, and Mark Howe and Dave Poulin and Sinisalo and Tim Kerr and those older guys really taught me a lot, and I enjoyed so much being around them. And then the team changed so much that Lindros's first year here was another real experience for me, is to see the business side of hockey and to see that young man take over this town and lead our team as a young guy and fight Scott Stevens and be as physical and as talented as he was. I mean, I watched him shoot a puck from the red line with one hand, and he shot it over the glass,
Wow.
And I've never seen any other hockey player do anything close to that. He was a strong, talented young man, and that was a heck of an experience for me to be a part of for 1 year.
Yeah, it certainly could be. I mean, a lot of movement, a lot of in and out, Bernie, and John Tortorella hasn't picked a captain yet on this team. We talk about leadership. Scott Lawton wears the A. Terry, you wore the A in 1989 with the Flyers. Bernie, just question comes to my mind. I've thought this a million times. I've never asked you. And Terry, maybe if you want to throw in your opinion as well. Why don't we see a goalie as a captain in the NHL? I mean, I know you can't skate around and talk to the ref about everything if you're in the net, but why?
The only thing a goalie can do is stand on his feet.
Stand on his feet and call the ref over and say, "What the hell was that all about?"
Oh yeah,
right?
I know, but it's you have a good point there. You could, but you know what? I keep referring to this, guys. It's so important. We're talking about individuals here, and the bottom line is you have to understand. If you want to win, to be successful, you have to go out as a team. Okay. And
it looks like the Flyers are doing that. Though. It looks like one for all for one, doesn't it to you?
Yeah. Well, you know what? They're getting there, but it takes time. It takes time to build, and confidence is a big factor in what you're doing. So the team, you have to believe in the players on the ice. You're performing with the players on the bench. They replace you, and it's it all comes down to. To me anyway. I remember when we won the championship, the team was so close together.
Yep.
And what it does, what it requires on any sports for that matter, I think is a good captain, a forward or a defenseman, mostly a forward, and we had Clark as a captain, which is, was incredible. And you have a good captain and you have a good coach. Great fans and great players surrounding that captain, and then you do this as a team, and you reach your goals.
All right, Terry, we only got about a minute or so. This leadership chain thing, Scott Lawton wears the A, there's no C. Do you think John Tortorella should name a C? Does that mean anything?
I mentioned earlier that I liked what he said on Saturday night, and I said other things, but I agree with you. That's something I would not do. I would not start my team without putting a captain in place. I think it's a position that you look up to, and you try and find the guy that he wants to speak to one-on-one and transfer that to your players. I don't know. I would not have a captain, but I'd like to hear what Bernie says. I think goalies. You mentioned goalies.
Why can't they be captains?
Because they got way too much going on. They're stopping the puck. Just leave them. They don't need to be captain. They need to stop the puck. As a defenseman, I wanted them to stop the puck.
Mm-hmm. All right, Bert, got 30 seconds. Got whatever you want to say. Go.
Well, folks, you just have patience, but also remember that we won a winning team in Philly, and at the same time, the team, the players, the organization needs the support.
All right.
We need the support to move forward, so it's very important.
We will be supporting you, Bernie. We'll have a great time, you and your beautiful wife, Jeannie, in Florida. Happy holidays. See you back in February.
Definitely. Sure. I'll give you a call once in a while.
Give me a call once in a while. Sure. Tell us what the temperature is. Make me feel jealous. Terry, thank you so much, buddy, for coming. It's a treat having you here.
Thank you.
Terrific
awesome.
guest.
Good stuff.
Terry Carkner did a great job. So did Bernie Pront. So did Chris Summer producing this show. Keith Noonan also back at the station. Thanks for flipping the knobs, turning the dials. This has been On the Ice from Chickies and Pete's in Malvern, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Be back next week in Glassboro with another guest. I'm Paul Jolovitz for Bernie Pront and Terry Carkner saying, have a great week, everybody, and go Flyers.
Yeah.
You've been listening to On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Tonight's show is an exclusive presentation of 1490 WBCB and heard around the world at WBCB1490.com.